Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg getting political during a commencement speech over the weekend, issuing new graduates this dire warning about the current state of politics. Watch this.
And so here we are in the midst of an epidemic of dishonesty and an endless barrage of lies. A seat in government isn't something to just shrug your shoulders at. When elected officials speak as though they are above the truth, they will act as though they are above the law.
That was at Rice University in Houston on Saturday. But aren't commencement speeches meant to uplift and inspire young people? Here to debate this is managing editor at Olympic Media, Katie Freites, and University of Maryland lecturer Jason Anthony Nichols. Thank you both for being with us. Thanks for having me. Katie, since you're the female on tap here, let me ask you first. I'll start with you. What'd you think of that speech?
Well, you know, the first half of it, honestly, I was hesitant. It seemed to fall fairly stereotypically, comparing him to regimes, comparing him to dictators, the president, of course, who I'm referring to. But the second half of it, actually, I was quite heartened by, because I believe that Mr. Bloomberg is correct when he says that if your loyalty is to left or to right, then you're taking tribe over country, I believe is what he said. And that, I think, is spot on in terms of the partisan toxicity going on in our political system today. So I would say first half, not great. Second half, pretty good.
All right, Jason, what did you think? Because I think the first half, what you're talking about, Katie, is the epidemic of dishonesty, he says, was the worst threat facing America, not terrorism and not communism or the other issues. He said it was the epidemic of dishonesty and said politicians who can't tell the truth. Your thoughts, Jason?
I think we're in a sad moment in American history when you talk about an epidemic of dishonesty, and everyone in the audience automatically knows it's the President of the United States that he's referring to. I think what he is trying to tell these young people, I think you can gather right now that you can reach success by being dishonest, that you can even reach the presidency that way. We have a president who's told 3,000 falsehoods in under 400 days. So I think what he's trying to say is integrity still matters. That the values that you got from your mothers, we just celebrated Mother's Day, that the values that you got from your mothers that were reinforced in your churches and mosques and synagogues are still important, and they're still going to lead you to lead a successful life. All right, so I think it's not necessarily a negative message.
Okay, Katie, compare his speech to Mike Pence's speech, our vice president. He was speaking at Hillsdale College, and he said, you're beginning your careers at a time of a growing American economy and restored American statue at home and abroad. I think we have a soundbite, a clip of that speech. Listen.
On the world stage, you've seen America embracing our role as leader of the free world. Here at home, businesses large and small are growing again. Faith in America is rising again because President Trump and our entire administration have been advancing the very principles that you learned here in the halls at Hillsdale College.
So, Katie, compare those two speeches.
Well, of course, the vice president's was certainly more optimistic and forward-facing. I think I will also say I was so happy to see him at Hillsdale, which is my alma mater. But I do think that it was. I mean, Americans and American families have never been in a better place. It's never been a better time to be an American than right now. Wages, tax cuts, jobs, everything is getting better and continues to go onward and upward. And it was nice to see him reminding people of that.
Jason, is it time to stop the identity politics?
Well, I think we can challenge some of the things that Katie just said about the tax cuts. We don't know if they're actually going to give us any kind of sustained wage increases other than just one-time bonuses. But what I can say is that identity politics, you know, I do think that we need to get away from the divisions and the fracture that we have in our nation. We need people who are going to bring us together, and thus far this president hasn't done that. We are more divided. Morale is lower in this country than I can recall in my entire lifetime. So I think what we actually need is a change, and I think that's what, you know, Mr. Bloomberg was getting at, and I think Mr. Pence is kind of missing the boat there.
All right, Katie, Jason, thanks for joining us.